Constitution bans Princess Leonor's mystery lover. The flag over the royal palace moves almost imperceptibly in the Madrid air. Inside, corridors echo with discipline rather than drama. Portraits of monarchs line the walls, men and women who learned, sometimes painfully, that a crown does not bend to impulse. It bends only to law. A young woman stands within that inheritance. Her future is written not in diaries, but in constitutional text. The phrase is not romantic. It is structural. Spain's 1978 constitution rebuilt the monarchy after rupture and dictatorship. It restored the crown not as an instrument of power, but as a guardian of continuity. Every article was drafted with caution. Every clause designed to prevent instability from ever reaching the throne again. Article 57 governs succession. It appears technical, measured, controlled, yet within it lies a decisive principle. Those in the line of succession who marry against the express prohibition of the king and the Cortes Generales are excluded. Excluded. The word is precise because the stakes are precise. In a constitutional monarchy, succession is protected long before it is tested. Many imagine the idea of a banned lover as dramatic, a forbidden figure at the gates. But modern monarchies rarely operate through spectacle. They operate through prevention, through quiet assessment, through conversations that never reach microphones. Here is the reframing. The Constitution does not chase romance. It shapes its consequences. If the heir to the Spanish throne forms an attachment that raises questions about background, financial exposure, political entanglement, public trust, the issue is not affection. It is continuity. The spouse of a future monarch becomes part of the state's symbolic architecture. Their biography merges with national narrative. This is the living thread of continuity. At 5 minutes into this unfolding awareness, the phrase returns with deeper weight. Not because love is prohibited, but because instability is. The monarchy's authority today rests entirely on credibility. It does not command armies. It does not pass legislation. It embodies unity in a parliamentary democracy. That embodiment must remain uncontroversial enough to stabilize, not divide. A future consort who complicates that balance becomes a constitutional variable. And variables are managed. Across the Atlantic, observers in the United States view European monarchies through the lens of democratic durability. Stability in Spain signals reliability in NATO structures and economic partnerships. In the United Kingdom, where royal marriages have at times tested public confidence, analysts understand how personal decisions ripple institutionally. Germany's constitutional scholars examine how symbolic heads of state maintain legitimacy through disciplined boundaries. In Canada and Australia, where the crown remains embedded in governance, the mechanics of succession are not decorative, they are foundational. Credibility circulates globally. At 8 minutes, a deeper mystery settles in. What conversations never become public? When an heir's private life approaches seriousness, assessments occur. Security reviews, discretionary briefings, contextual evaluations that consider not only character, but perception. It is not enough that someone be decent. They must be resilient, transparent, capable of inhabiting scrutiny without destabilizing trust. These evaluations are rarely acknowledged. There are no press releases announcing compatibility. Instead, relationships sometimes fade before they formalize. Absence becomes outcome. Continuity is defended in silence. By 10 minutes, the potential strain sharpens. Imagine, for a moment, that a relationship advanced despite institutional hesitation. The king would face a constitutional threshold. Parliament would not be ornamental, it would be implicated. Public debate would ignite, not about romance, but about precedent. If one heir insists, what prevents another? If prohibition is ignored, does exclusion follow? The crown survives because its rules are enforceable. And enforcement, once visible, alters perception. National identity is woven into these rituals. The oath at 18, the military training, the presence at national ceremonies. Each image reinforces alignment between monarch and state. The public must see not spontaneity, but steadiness. 14 minutes into this examination, the point of no return emerges. If ever a future queen publicly defied constitutional caution in marriage, the institution would have to act, not emotionally but structurally. Exclusion from succession would not be a headline, it would be a recalibration of history. Architecture would prevail over attachment. Because in a constitutional monarchy, succession is protected long before it is tested. Spain remembers instability. It remembers abdications and fractures. The modern crown was restored precisely because it accepted limitation. Its power lies in restraint. That restraint extends into the most intimate territories. A mystery lover, is not threatening because he is unknown. He is threatening if uncertainty surrounds him. Uncertainty unsettles markets. It unsettles allies. It unsettles public trust. At 19 minutes, another horizon appears. Republican debates surface periodically across Europe. Social media magnifies speculation into narrative. Private companionship can become international discussion within hours. In Washington, analysts might frame such tension as a stress test of European constitutional monarchy. In London, commentators would measure it against their own institutional adjustments. In Berlin, the conversation would focus on legal clarity. In Ottawa and Canberra, it would reopen questions about how monarchy adapts in modern democracies. The stakes are rarely confined to one palace. They extend to credibility. And so, what some call a ban is more accurately described as a boundary. They do not declare themselves loudly. They exist as guardrails. They shape decisions before defiance can form. They ensure that the future queen never reaches a public crossroads where personal choice collides with national expectation. The young heir continues her preparation. Diplomatic visits, military formation, parliamentary ceremonies. Each step is rehearsal for sovereignty defined by law. Power is structural, not emotional. Duty outweighs desire. The survival of the institution is the ultimate prize. Somewhere beyond cameras, friendships will form. Companionship will evolve. The human dimension cannot be erased. But the constitutional dimension always stands beside it, quiet and immovable. In a constitutional monarchy, succession is protected long before it is tested. That protection may feel invisible. It may feel preventative rather than reactive. But it is precisely that invisibility which preserves stability. The day may come when an official engagement is announced. When approval is evident in the silence of objection. When the nation understands that compatibility has passed constitutional scrutiny. Or the day may come when absence speaks louder than announcement. They are not barriers to happiness. They are assurances of continuity. The flag continues to move above the palace. Parliament continues its debates. Markets open and close without turbulence. Allies observe Spain as steady, predictable, anchored. The future queen walks within a framework older than herself, aware that her choices echo beyond emotion. History does not rush her. But it does surround her. And somewhere between private affection and public duty, the Constitution waits, not as an adversary, but as a guardian, ensuring that when the crown passes forward, it does so unshaken. What comes next has not yet been written. The limits remain. And so does the question of who, if anyone, will stand beside her within them.